Hey, Dr. Osborne here. Today, Kathleen wrote in with this question. Dr. Osborne, what can I do naturally to improve the situation I have with my type 2 diabetes? And so, very, very important. There are a couple different pieces of advice I can give you, Kathleen, that will make a huge difference in helping you control your blood sugar. Number one, understand this. Diabetes is a disease of choice. If we're talking about type 2 diabetes, a lot of doctors will tell you it's family history. A lot of doctors will blame your genetics. It's just not true. Diabetes barely existed 100 years ago. We knew very, very little about it. But today it's rampant. We have 60-70% of the population in the U.S. alone are overweight or obese, and diabetes is a runaway disease. So where was it 70, 80, 90 years ago? Right? We know just from that alone that it's not a disease of genetics, although you can have parents that were diabetic, you can have predisposition to diabetes, to developing diabetes. It doesn't mean that you'll develop it. And if you modify your choices and your behaviors, going back to what I said, diabetes is a disease of choice and a disease of lifestyle. If you modify your behaviors, you can absolutely reverse this condition. So number one, understand this. Diabetes is a form of carbohydrate toxicity. And one of the reasons we're seeing the popularity of the ketogenic diet emerge as this wonderful diet for people who are feeling better, feeling healthier, having more energy, losing weight, regulating their blood sugar using a ketogenic diet is because they've been eating carbohydrate toxic. So what they're doing is over here they were carbohydrate toxic, and then they go way over here and now they're eating mostly fat and protein. And so they've just switched the pendulum to the other side of the spectrum. So they're running away from carbohydrate toxicity and they're reaping massive benefits as a result of doing that. So you have to understand that diabetes is a carb toxicity. You've got to get away from all the sugars, the processed sweets, the pastas, the cereals, the grains, the white potatoes, the things that will spike your insulin really, really quickly. You've got to get away from those types of foods, and you got to get away from them fast. Now, some people will go to a ketogenic diet, and that doesn't mean that everybody needs to be ketogenic to overcome diabetes. Ketogenic is actually a step in the opposite direction from diabetes, whereas diabetes is carbohydrate toxic. For many, ketogenic can become fat toxic. So usually there's somewhere in the middle that works best. And so it doesn't necessarily, again, you don't necessarily have to go all the way to a ketogenic diet with high fat and get yourself into ketosis, but you can balance out the quantity of carbs, fats, and proteins that you're eating. I like to start people on what I call the rule of thirds. A third fat, a third protein, a third carbohydrate. That's more balance than what most diets are. Remember, most diets in the United States are 60 to 80% carbohydrate, 20% protein, 10% fat. So it's the complete opposite of what it should be. But if you bring it to balance, it makes a huge difference in blood sugar and blood sugar regulation. Number two, we with diabetes suffer from something called activity deficiency. What does that mean? That means not enough movement, not enough exercise. Look, the fact of the matter is, most people today have very sedentary jobs and lifestyles. We sit at a desk for 8 hours. When we come home, we sit some more. And very few people have any form of organized exercise in their life on a regular basis. And if they do, the exercise does not outweigh the sitting. So like you can't exercise for 1 hour and then sit for 12 hours and expect there to be some miraculous difference in your physical health. Remember, one of the ways we regulate blood sugar is muscle mass. The more muscle mass you have, the less insulin resistant you are. Muscles help your body utilize glucose, and muscles help your insulin receptors work better. So if you have an activity deficiency, if you're not doing proper activity, if you're sedentary, remember, one of the first steps in overcoming type 2 diabetes is to get moving. And so that might look like 10,000 steps a day, meaning making sure you're walking at least 5 miles a day. And you might also want to think about incorporating some body weight activity, push-ups, pull-ups, squats, lunges, plank holds, jump ropes, burpees, body weight movements that will help your body build muscle tone without injuring yourself, because many diabetics are overweight, so doing too much heavy weight is already hard on their joints and their joints are already taxed. So body weight activity is the best place to start for somebody who's overweight with type 2 diabetes. And a third strategy that you can implement for type 2 diabetes, and arguably one of the most successful strategies I've seen in my practice over the last couple of decades, is a grain-free diet. Remember, grains promote elevation in blood sugar. They promote elevation in cortisol, which disrupts the way your insulin works. So if you are eating grains thinking, hey, whole grains are supposed to be good for me. My doctor said whole grains, I need them for the fiber. My doctor said I need whole grains to control my heart disease, to control my cholesterol. Look, you've been sold a false bill of goods. The fact of the matter is, most products that are whole grain are only 51% whole grain, and the other 49% of the grain in those products is actually processed junk and sugar. So going gluten-free eliminates all of those things and moves you in the right direction. If you want to know more about the gluten-free lifestyle, check out my best-selling book, No Grain, No Pain. Actually, a couple of chapters in the book take you through a 30-day diet that actually I've seen in a number of people that have come to see me in my practice completely reverse their blood sugar problems. So you might give that diet a try. It doesn't cost you anything to try diet change, and it can be one of the most powerful implementations to overcome type 2 diabetes. Look, thanks so much for writing in with your question, and have a great day, and I'm wishing you excellent health. This is Dr. Osborne. We'll see you in the next video. And make sure you check out this video here and this one here. You might find some answers for your health in them. And also, hit the subscribe button below if you like what you're watching. We want you to be able to get updates when we post new videos. And come over to Gluten Free Society right here, where you can grab your free gluten-free survival guide, no charge to you. We just want to help you navigate the gluten-free diet.